The movie starts and we see a girl named Judy and her friend Kevin arriving at a small grocery store. But suddenly someone points a gun at the cashier and they start yelling. He is there to hand them all the money that's in the cash drawer. He listens and smoothly gets out with all the money. But Judy notices there is a safe behind the counter and it requires a lot for him to open it. And the surprise is that the cashier keeps it. And he tells her that what's inside she won't like. And then he mocks her and tells her that out of all the things she could have done in her life, she chose to do this, Judy, and now she is angry. It starts with a countdown, and after moments, a loud gunfire fills the scene. Then it moves to the forest, and we see a woman named Sama Nasi, and she is walking and it is clear that she is terrified and feeling scared. She notices a small hut from a distance, and she runs towards it hoping to find any help. Samantha, you'll find the place empty, even though there is an old radio covered in dust and a creepy chair like a bed arch, and also a bag with some food in it. But then you notice a man carrying an axe, and as he approaches the hut, you hide quickly. The man enters the hut while you remain hidden underneath the bed. He takes his bag that had the food in it and walks. And this makes then she forgets to catch her breath. Slowly, after a moment, she is pushed out of the hut and runs madly. But she meets the man from last time and she stumbles hard on the ground and her leg gets hurt. But the man who turned out to be named Tom. He suddenly appears to be kind and offers her help. The two of them return together to the cabin. There, Tom takes care of her, and Samantha apologizes to him because she stole his food and admits she hasn't eaten anything since yesterday. She explains to him that her car broke down last night, and her husband had gone to the gas station. Close, but I never come back, Samantha. Then she asks him if he has a phone, but Tom says that he doesn't have one, and that there's nothing but an old radio. And he is not working. And he tells her with surprise that he also had a problem with the car, and that he has been stuck here for 3 days. When she hears Samantha is like this, and she is scared, wanting to walk and look for her husband immediately, but he warns her. The temperature outside might reach 5. Samantha asks him what happened to his car, and Tom reveals that he had a minor accident, and his car was destroyed, and after he left a note for Joe, then someone named Adam denied that the two of them take some blankets from the car before they return to the hut. Then in the hut Tom gives Samantha some. Me brought it from a small nearby stream, but strangely, I never went back there again, and I didn't find it there. He's wondering why her husband left her in Arabic, but don't say for sure. Tell him that this is because she is pregnant. When he hears this, the man offers to sleep on the floor and gives her the bed, and he promises her he will get them out of here. And in the next scene, Samantha has a nightmare, and she is trying to call someone and writhing in pain. When you wake up to find a body with no trace, but you are surprised when you find a blonde woman lying unconscious right outside the hut. Then you drag the woman inside. At the same time, Biban was siphoning gas from his car to use it in Salmon's car. After a while, the blonde lady wakes up and goes out. It's the same Judy, whom we saw in the opening scene, remains shocked by the place she is in. So, Samantha is trying to explain to her how they found her unconscious outside. But Judy, suspicious about the matter, angrily demands to know where Kevin is. Samantha, she has no idea. She is talking about whom. Fjord comes out of the hut angrily immediately. And in another scene, a chest of fire is rising. From afar, he rushes Tommy to the point that this is for all the gasoline. And after a few moments, the sound of another shot hits, and Tommy calls out frantically to see if anyone was there. But there was no response at that time. Judy. She returns to the hut, and it is clear that she is very upset. Because there is neither a phone nor a bathroom. She thought that this was a house. Then she forgot, and that she was living here alone. But the other one explains to her. How did she get stuck here after the gasoline ran out for her and her husband at that moment? Tom arrives and gets shocked when he sees a new girl. Jody knows him herself. Then he asks her about her story. Jody replies that she is from Detroit and that she had a fight with her boyfriend, and it ended with them. The matter is, he kicked her out of the Arabic place, and left her in the street. Then he tells her that she can stay here, but she must start helping with the work from tomorrow. She agrees, and on that night we see Judy having a nightmare that she is tied up, and someone is choking her with something, and the next day she and Samantha, they enter into a friendly chat, and they start to get to know each other more. But their conversation quickly turns into an argument, when they disagree about the place they are in. Since Judy is sure that they are in Wisconsin, but then Nata is sure that they are in New Hampshire. At that time Tom is in the depths. The forest teaches the tree according to the distance. One walks it, but one gets scared when finding oneself, and returns to the hut from which one started exactly, although he was walking in a straight line, meeting Judy, who is determined that the price drove her crazy because she thinks they are in New Hampshire. This shocks Tom. He is also running to talk to Samantha. Then when the three of them get together, they start arguing about the place, but things get worse. The more he gets up, he says unexpectedly that they are in Sioux City, Dakota, and this adds to their confusion even more, because each of them is sure of their location. Then he feels that something is really wrong in the place, and he asks the girls if they're sure exactly about the place they think they're in. Then he warns him that time is running out, and if they don't take a step soon, the water and food will run out from them dangerously. He suggests that they go out tomorrow and leave as far as they can go, and the girls agree. And on that night we see Tam, and he has a nightmare with a gun, and the next morning, three of them leave the cabin early and start walking in the forest, and Sam forgets my presence. They start chatting while walking, where Judy is talking about how old she is. She never saw her mother, and it turned out that her mother died the day she was born, and the ones who raised her were her grandfather and grandmother. And after that, note, Jory suddenly trips over something and falls. At that moment, a bundle of money falls out of her pocket. Tom, shocked, asks to know where she got it from. All this money, but she simply replies that she got it from her work with her friend. At that time, Samantha's attention is drawn to a mysterious door in the ground. Then he uses his axe to break the lock, and as soon as they enter, they are shocked when they find out that it is actually a military bomb cache. They find there a lot of canned food and old wine, and also Samantha's map. Then you notice that everything written here is in German, and you suspect that they sure in Poland. Judy asks her, "How did you find out?" Fassment explains that her father was German, but her mother is the one who taught him the language, because her father died in the war. Judy is shocked by the coincidence, and she admits that her father also died in the war. Then they gather the food and the drinking before they left the hideout, but again, and after a few moments, they found themselves breathing again. This golden hut shocked them because they were sure that they walked in a straight line, and they were very far from the cabin. Yet, they are here again, and at night during dinner, Tom opens up and says that no one will notice at all. If he were gone, he is exposing that his mother was executed and that she was raised in a shelter. Orphanages in South Dakota later. And women. Alone. Then you tell Jory that she wants to see the bundle of money since she has never seen an amount like this before. Jody. Then she goes out to her and admits her son is receiving petrol station and supermarket with his friend. And this puts Samantha in a state of shock. But Judy, she justifies to herself and says that she has grown up while she has nothing, and she never went to university, so she does anything she can to be able to live. However, when Samantha examines the money, she thinks that this is some kind of joke, because the money was printed in a year, and this for her is in the future. This shocks Judy, and when she asks, she wonders what year we are in. Year, you say, and when you renewed. I asked the same question and showed her her jacket, and she left Samantha stunned in that moment. Tom enters the cabin, and when the women ask him, "What year are we in?" he says with surprise that we are in it. The women later reveal, what year are they from? In fact, and that's it. He would be surprised if they suddenly joke about the sound of hitting. A loud gunshot is fired from outside, and this increases the fear, and Tom looks out the window and sees a man holding a gun. They go out and ask for his help. Carefully, but the man raises the gun and speaks in German. Tom throws his axe quickly. Samantha says they don't intend any harm to anyone, but the German man hits Tom and makes him lose consciousness. And the next morning, my father wakes up with his legs tied, and he notices that the women are also tied in chairs, while the German man does not exist, and based on the old alcohol, the old radio, and the hiding place. The bombs are supposed to be most likely. They traveled through time to World War II, and this is what explains the existence of the hideout costs th. Then I asked them if time travel had been invented and if he was the one who brought them here with. That shows that even though it seems far, it is not really that advanced. And after a few moments, the German man comes back and undoes it before he bangs violently on the cabin door. The man doesn't understand English, and he starts hitting Tom in the forest, and at that moment Tom takes the opportunity and manages to free himself. And he tries to escape. But the German man catches him again and ties him to a tree in the forest, and after that, the German man returns to the hut and asks angrily, "Where are these women from? They look like they might be dragged to the alley. What's on Judy's neck?" And the man, the angry one, wants to know who brought her. From where? Samantha is quickly translating that she was Mrs. Judy's, but the German doesn't believe her and raises the gun to fire. Here Samantha discovers that she also has a charm just like hers. The confused Germans also take out their charms too, and what? She looks like the ones they have. And there is a picture. Seth and Samantha surprise her to know that she is her mother. Then the German takes the women to Hugh and Price. Thabet asks him if he didn't pass his Lassie stuff, but it turns out he doesn't have it. Then they start discussing this strange situation, and it turns out Al-Net holds himself. Then the scene shifts to the hut, and the German man is lying down and unconscious and tied up, while the other three are visible. They should be afraid. Samantha, then she discovers with a surprise that the woman in this picture is her mother, while Judy says that she is her grandmother. I also heard her saying that her father's name was Hans Neumar. And after they checked the German man's papers, it turns out it's him. It's the same, the person, and when Samantha asks about Judy's birthday, Judy says that it is, and it turns out to be the same date that it is supposed. Samantha was born there, and you ask her too, if her father's name is Adam, and if her family are the ones who raised her. Judy confirms this talk. The room is shrouded in complete silence. When does the shocking truth become clear to Samantha? The truth is it is Mama Judy, and the horror of knowing that her husband will die in the war and destroy her. And after she leaves the hut crying, Tom reveals a surprise and tells Judy that she is actually Judy's mother. She says this is nonsense and says that she doesn't have a pelvis and she's not even pregnant, but Tom says that he had a pelvis. But he didn't bring her with him. He reveals that his mother was a criminal, steals gasoline in the whole state, and she was beaten Kashir with fire, and even killed Abu Kevin, and this. It led to her being arrested, and executing her. The harsh reality descends on Judy as she also comes out of the hut quickly. The women meet each other in the forest is 2nd and 8th, so it shatters when it knows that it dies while being born. Later it asks about Adam. My existence reveals that he will die while he is fighting in the Vietnam War and will leave her alone with Adam's family. Judy also says that her grandfather and grandmother used to treat her badly and show her scars. Harsh. It broke a very expensive heart. Then Samantha gets close to her father and explains everything to him in detail. She moves to unfasten it. Meanwhile, Tom warns that Hans might be dangerous, but Samantha tells Tom that in fact her daughter is pleading with him later to trust her. And he agrees, but unfortunately as soon as he unties, he will go down, take his gun and rifle, and escape from the cabin. At that moment, Samantha remembers her nightmare again, and Judy tells him, and Tom discovers that she is in her dream. She was at home alone giving birth while Adam was out of town and the ambulance. You didn't manage to arrive on time, Tom, later. He says that he dreamed of the priest who hurt him and that he shot the priest before he harmed himself. My existence also reminds her of a dream where she was executed for killing Kevin. And that means they all dreamed of their deaths. Yet, Tam says that these things haven't happened yet, so there is still time ahead of them to change or stop them. They realize that this whole chain of events, it starts with Naz's death, so he decides to stop them. First, they go to the bomb hideout to see the map, and Samantha discovers that her father has died in an air raid in the city of Wilno in Poland where they are now, and today is the day Tom will die here. It is assumed that he got down and didn't die. His wife will not marry again, and then Simon will find her mother with her taking her to the hospital while she is giving birth, and that it means that she lives my presence, she will be able to grow and be a righteous woman instead of being a criminal. And Tom will grow up with his real mother. Then the group, she decides to get it for him, go down to the hideout when the air raid happens. They return to the hut quickly, and their Hans was able to make a call. On the radio, they are trying to warn about the bombing, but he refuses to believe them and runs outside, determined that he must carry out the mission. Tom is trying him. They just stop him, but the two get into a violent struggle. And during the struggle, this happens. When he sees this, Hans runs away and leaves. The other two are desperately trying to treat my existence. The infected one, Tom starts to panic, and determined to survive. If she dies, he will be there, then he runs to catch up. Hans, while Samantha prefers to stay next to her daughter and fights desperately to keep her alive. And after a while of running, it happened that in the end Hans, who is trying to attack him, manages to do so. The two get into a heavy fight, and afterwards Hans, he runs away again in the opposite direction. But Tom realizes that no matter how far they run, it will end with them going back to the cabin, so he goes there. Both of them. Then they meet again at the cabin. Woody is basically dying. Hans started shooting at Tom, but Tom began to disappear slowly. It disappears completely, then after a little while, her presence emerges. Her last breaths, because her death means that his existence will end. When she sees this, Samantha approaches. Hans angrily blames him, saying that he is the reason for everything that is happening, but there is no time to waste, because many planes are flying above them. And ready to. Samantha's missiles hit, begging her father once again that he should save himself not just for his own sake, but also for the sake of your grandchildren's future. In the end, he believes her this time, but as soon as they run to the hideout, many missiles fall from the sky, and this makes Samantha hit her head on a rock and lose. Fortunately, her father takes her and puts her in the hideout. And he can close the door at exactly the right time. And many missiles keep hitting the forts, and at this moment noticed the presence of Samantha starting to appear and disappear before completely disappearing. And in another place we see Judy's corpse. She also disappears from in front of the hut. And I will go down. Then he looks at the picture of his wife. But at that moment, a huge rocket hits the hut. And it destroys everything. And time starts to repeat itself again. And everything that has happened so far is being exposed. On the contrary, the scene shifts to a year. And we see Judy in the store just like the beginning of the movie exactly. But her appearance has changed this time. And she looks classy, not like her usual look. The old snake after you pay the price for the things you bought. Judy leaves the store and notices Kevin, who is now with him. Another companion. The two of them enter the store before they pull out a gun and threaten many people to take the cashier's money, but he hands them the money. However, the woman asks from him, the safe also opens. And the scene goes on exactly like what happened before. The cashier agrees to open it but warns. She won't be able to. She endures what is inside, and before the sound of a strike, fire comes out exactly, the scene shifts to Judy, who is now living in a luxurious house. And we see the address. Jernan announces his recent death. He dropped me, and the honorable war did not stop, and a man of goodness, Judy. Then he gets close to his mother, the name of the female who seems to have grown up in age, and they walk together to the beach to throw hands as ashes. And the film ends with an ending, sad and happy at the same time. And it will reveal a connection. Most likely it will not be present at all in this timeline, since it was Ibn Judy and his companion, the thief who betrayed them, now have gone separate ways into completely different worlds. And this is the end of the movie, and see you at a new summary. Thank you for watching.